Hi everyone, this is Diva from Blood Hunter, and you're listening to the Metal Pit podcast.
Welcome to the Metal Pit podcast, where we delve deep into the albums and bands that shaped metal. Please visit our website, The Metal Pit, at www.themetalpit.org, where you can find album reviews, interviews, and live show reviews. Also, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Metal Pit. And for some video interviews, video shorts, and audio versions of this podcast, please visit our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com at The Metal Pit 666. And if you have any comments, suggestions, questions, complaints, whatever, email us at info@themetalpit.org. Yes. Okay. So my guests today are two of my contributors to the Metal Pit website. I have Jim. How you doing, Jim?
I'm great. It's great to be here again. I love talking metal, especially, this close to Christmas. Couldn't pick a better album and band to discuss. This is awesome.
And Staicha is here also. How are you, Staicha?
Oh, good. I mean, I assumed talking about Venom was just my Christmas present from everybody.
Yeah, that's my Christmas bonus to you, Staicha.
Perfect. I love it.
Okay, so she just let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, since I'm seeing her petting her cat right now. But anyway, so yes, we're going to talk about Venom. But first, I'm going to just say this is our last episode before Christmas. And I know for so many people, Christmas isn't a happy time of the year, maybe because, family or friends are passed on, or because their Visa bills get up too high, or their MasterCard bills, whatever you want to call it, get up too high at Christmas, buying gifts for their boss. That's me. But anyway, we won't get into that. And I know, or if you're like Jim and Staicha, you're probably on the naughty list, and Santa's not coming to their house, so that's probably so. So for people like that, I thought, what better album to talk about right before Christmas than "Welcome to Hell" from Venom, as I think it seems perfectly fitting to talk about Venom before Christmas.
Agreed.
Same here. This is great.
Now, as it works out, this is our third straight album that came out in 1981. As 2 episodes ago, we did, what did we do? We did Iron Maiden Killers. And then last week, it was Ozzy's Diary of a Madman. And now we have Venom's debut album, Welcome to Hell. Let's see, all three of us.
Solid year.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a good year. Now, all three of us are Venom fans. Maybe the only 3 writers for the Metal Pit that are. I'm not really sure. Maybe. Now, we did a previous episode on Venom's second album, Black Metal, and me and Staicha were on that alone, just the 2 of us. So if you don't know who Venom is and you want a bio on Venom, go back and listen to that episode, because I don't want us to repeat ourselves too much if we can.
That was the first podcast I ever did, actually, was that
it?
one.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it was, because
yes.
I was pretty new, and you were talking about doing a Venom podcast, and I think I said something like, I will harm people if you don't let me on that one. And you were like, okay.
And for anybody new that might be to us, of course, there is a video on our YouTube channel from Staicha about 10, was it, interesting facts about Venom?
It was supposed to be, and then it became 20
20.
facts that you
20.
didn't know about Venom.
That was a while ago, so I forget the number there. So yeah, so make sure you check that out if you haven't checked that out yet. Now,
I actually rewatched it before this because not to like drink my own bathwater, but it is a really good history of Venom and like cool facts about Venom, and it did talk a lot about like how they came to be and became a band. So I was like, I'm just gonna rewatch that before this as a refresher.
I probably should have did that too.
Oh, it's okay. It's all up here. I got it.
Okay. And so me and Staicha have already kind of talked about when we first heard Venom. So let's ask Jim, when did you first hear Venom?
Oh God. I mean, when this album came out, I was 10. So, I was just a wee one, I guess you could say. But I think my first album I got would have been probably At War with Satan, because I got it because it was just, I mean, they were showing, I think the only video, they weren't showing very many videos. I think they had some live portions of stuff that you'd see on Much Music, and they barely played it. But I mean, I love the cover for At War with Satan. I mean, it was a wicked album. You know, the upside down cross, the imagery pissed my parents off. And that's, you know, that's what it was all about, was just total rebellion. And I know I got possessed after that. And then I went back and got the two like legendary albums, including this one, which, you know, is the start of everything in my mind. So, but no, yeah, as soon as you got to see, you know, Kronos on a live video, just singing into that mic, and oh man, you knew this was something special. And I brought that to school. I think I had it on cassette, and all my friends, I think they just loved it, and we loved. We just scared people with it. It was awesome.
Jim, I don't want to derail us too much, but what did you think of Possessed?
I kind of liked it. I mean, I love the freaky album cover, and I believe you might have had the fact on there that I think those were somebody's kids on there, from I think the producer or even possibly a band member or something. I can't remember.
It's funny because nobody is very fussed about that album, kind of including Venom. But I think it's because that was around the time that the internal relationship started to fall apart. And whenever like Kronos or Mantis or Abaddon talk about it, all they seem to talk about is how much they fought while recording it, and they never talk about the album. So I just feel like everybody hates it. And I don't mind it. In fact, Power Drive is one of my favorite Venom songs.
Oh,
so
cool.
I never hear people talk about it. So when you're like, oh, well, that was the second one I got, I was like, whoa.
Yeah. No, I like it. And I could see that. And yes, every time I bring it up on like online or something, when people will ask, I'll say, oh no, I like that album. It's pretty cool. A lot of people are like, it's not that great, but I do like it. I think it's Satana Christ is a great song off of that.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. And it was a cool, and the cover is so freaky. It's just like, I mean, I love the Venom cover art anyways, but it's always a good one. I like that one.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that would say any Venom album isn't good.
Yeah, well, those people are wrong, so they're allowed to be wrong, I guess.
Well, I was looking at trying to find some reviews of this album. I found somebody's, and they gave it like 18%, I guess, out of 100, I guess is what that meant. But but they called them black metal. Like they said, they're a black metal band from England. I'm thinking, well, first of all, they're not a black metal band. I know they kind of started that term, but they're not really a black metal band. And so this guy obviously didn't know anything anyway. So I don't even know when this page was written, but there wasn't any place for comments, or I'm sure there would have been some comments
like that. Just because.
But he said every song sounds the same, but I'm thinking, but every metal band that somebody doesn't like there's metal bands I don't like, and I would say that too. I would say, well, every song sounds the same, because if you don't like it, that's what it is. But if you like it, then you can tell the differences.
That's like, I think all jazz sounds the same.
Yes.
And it's all terrible. It's the same thing, and it's awful.
Everything, like if you have a classical album, well, sure, every song sounds the same. I mean, there's different things in it, but it's still, if you don't like classical, you're gonna say it all sounds the same.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the empty-headed top 40 crap all sounds the same. Give me a break.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Whenever you don't like something, it's just like, this is the same noise I keep hearing.
Like you listen to Taylor Swift, I find that more offensive than this. I'm sorry.
That's definitely true. I'm gonna sign on to that for sure. As so I have a lot of 20-year-olds that work for me, so I hear a lot of Taylor Swift in my day to day, and it's really painful.
Yes.
Don't you put some Taylor Swift on your cookies?
No, never. And she's not allowed on hooligan radio either. But like, people find a way. Like the kitchen staff will throw her on. I think they do it to incense me now.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's fun. Okay, so this debut album, came out in December 1981. I don't know if they did top albums of the year back in 1981 or not, so that might have hurt their chances releasing it so late in the year. And it came out on Neat Records, which is also where Kronos worked for Neat Records. Isn't that correct? Do I got the right name?
Yep, you nailed
Okay.
it.
So I'm looking at so much stuff. Okay, so now, of course, these first, well, maybe every Venom album, I don't know. I'm probably the later ones, but the sound is never too polished or produced. It always sounds like they recorded it in a church or in a church basement or whatever. But of course, this album and probably the black metal album, maybe more so, I don't know, or the first few albums, inspired a lot of, well, it created, as I just said previously, the black metal term. And even though I don't really think Venom is black metal, and I think nobody would say they're black metal, are they? Staicha, you wouldn't say that, would you?
Well, I think they started black metal because they did. So I
Yes.
don't think you wouldn't lump them in with what black metal became, but
No.
they're black metal insofar as they became black metal. But they're an interesting band because a lot of people, so I actually I'm on a few like Reddit threads about Venom, and one is just what genre is Venom, because there's so many elements to them, because Venom started off as a band that wanted to sound like if Black Sabbath weren't Christian and were faster like Motorhead, but with a guitarist that wanted to sound like KK Downing, but with a
Right.
former singer that worshipped Alice Cooper. And then so you have this mishmash of those four random elements. But that kind of together was what they were like, black metal. And every black metal band after that was Venom inspired. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where the dad is always like, if you give me any word, I'll tell you where it came from in Greece. I will tell, if you give me any metal band, I'll tell you how they were inspired by Venom. So every like Bathory, Sodom, Dark Throne, like there's so many bands that just they pulled elements that like probably like people like us who aren't like intense black metal musicians maybe wouldn't pick up on. So like, yeah, if you were gonna, if someone was like, what's black metal sound like, I wouldn't necessarily show them Venom,
Yeah.
but that element is definitely in there.
Yes. And they also
It's a
influence,
proto element.
like you just like thrash and speed and, you
Oh yeah,
mentioned
I
it
mean, if
before,
it
like
weren't for Venom,
Metallica.
there wouldn't be Metallica or Slayer. Like Metallica
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Slayer worshipped Venom, rightfully so.
Yes, and I do know the black metal band Mayhem did borrow their name from one of the songs on here. Well, the instrumental Mayhem with
Mayhem with
Mercy.
Mercy. Yeah.
Yep.
And then, of course, the
And
German
Sodom.
thrash metal band Sodom took their name. Well, I mean, they could have took it from the Bible too, I guess, but
Oh, they took it. Sodom totally took it from
Venom.
this album. I even verified it before the
okay.
podcast. I love Sodom,
Yep.
by the way.
Okay.
Absolutely
Same
love
here.
Sodom. Oh
Love
yeah.
it.
Oh, of course, Jim. I swear, you and I have the same taste.
We do.
We really
Now, of
do.
course, they took a long time to record this album. It took them 3 days,
Yeah. Oh,
which is
Yeah, the
funny.
new
It's
Sodom.
It's funny that a band can record an album in 3 days, and now it takes like 5 years before you get a new album from somebody. But anyway,
Guns N' Roses. Remember that took like 10 years.
okay. I got that written twice. Okay, so the band here we got. Oh, do I got to say these names? Okay, the real names. I'm just gonna say their nicknames, I guess. Is that what you call it? I don't know. We got Kronos
I
on
can do
bass
it if
and
you want.
vocals, Mantis on guitars, and Baden on
Abaddon.
drums. And he also did the artwork for this album, which is, a pentagram with a goat. Is that a goat? Yeah, in there.
Yeah.
I think that's all I had to say before we get talking about the album. I think we might just get right into the songs. Now, I will say the lyrics of Venom are usually either about Satan or sex. I think that's pretty much sums it up, more or less.
Yep.
And the first one kind of gives it away, as it's called Sons of Satan. So let's let Jim go first on Sons of Satan.
Oh, this is a wicked song to start off the album. It's awesome. You got those pounding drums. It's kind of got an industrial guitar sound to it, which is so cool. I mean, the lyrics are great. it's just, I mean, the lyrics on every song on this album are phenomenal, and it's exactly any rebelling teenager or anybody rebelling, especially, you picture when this came out. This came out in 1981, and these guys were the first ones through the wall. Usually gets the bloodiest. So, and they definitely did. I mean, they took this to a new level. And I mean, you guys were talking earlier about it being sort of the birth of black metal. Absolutely. And I mean, there's so many songs on here that are evidence of that. I also get a really big Motorhead vibe out of the whole album as well too. Just a hell of a lot more darker and heavy in a different way. So, but this song is wicked. And I mean, I'm gonna let Staicha take over on this one, but this is a great song on the album.
Oh, first of all, Jim, when you said I got a real Motorhead vibe from this album, I
Oh, yeah.
nodded so hard I hurt my neck. I have so much to say about that too. Like that's like a theme that just keeps coming up with me with this. But Sons of Satan, it's funny to me because I like to think about, if you got this, like let's see, you get this tape. I was born in the 80s, so for me everything is a tape. And like you get this tape and you turn it on and you're like, this is the first time I'm ever gonna hear this band. And like this is the first song. So listening to it like for the podcast, I was like, now imagine if this was like my first impression of all time. And I do think maybe the choice to have this as the first track was an interesting one. But it does, I like how it starts with no build. There's no intro, there's no like soft build up. It just like bam opens. And I like that about Venom. And it's good because it's got, I mean, this album is and as Jim said, it's like, or as Blake said, it's like all like lo-fi production quality, like as you go through, which is great. I think Mantis's choice to have that kind of like groovy psychedelic guitar solo in there was interesting. But again, you've got a guitarist who's a little bit older. Like these guys were so young. Kronos was 18, Mantis was 20, Abaddon was 21. Like those are children. But you've got someone who absolutely worships Judas Priest, but it's like, I really want to throw this like crazy psychedelic solo in there. So it really is, it's a great opener. It's not my favorite song on the album, but I really do like that it's a punch to the face as soon as you turn it on.
Yeah.
Yes, I was also going to say that they just came out like already going 100% or whatever. There was no slow intro or anything. It is kind of odd maybe that why didn't they start the album with Welcome to Hell? I'm not sure why they would do that, but back then it probably wasn't necessarily a thing that everybody did. I think more or less now they do. If they have a song named after the album, they usually start the album with that. But I guess, well, even the number of the beast was like song 5 on that one actually, but whatever. But anyway, yeah, I love the song too, and but I'm not going to say anything else about it. Welcome to Hell is the next one, and I will let Staicha talk about Welcome to Hell.
I will say, like, this is probably what I would have opened the album with if it were me doing it. But I love it. I think this is amazing lyrically. Now, yeah, the lyrics in this album, or Venom in general, because Kronos loves to write these like long, intense, drawn out story style lyrics, and I actually love it. You are totally nail on the head that it is Satan or sex for sure. But what's wrong with that? But everything, I love the guitar in this. It's see, this to me would be like the perfect introduction to what Venom is. Now my favorite part about the song is what I call the washing machine part. Have you guys ever like done laundry and had like an off balance load and it just like whips really aggressively and the washing machine has this like really fast, insane like death rattle? There's a part in the song that's exactly like that. It sounds like the washing machine is going on in the background. It's like 2/3 of the way through when it just like really, really, really picks up. So listen to it again and just think about the unbalanced load, and that is my favorite part.
Well, it's probably the washing machine in the basement of the church. Somebody's probably doing some nun's clothing or something.
Good. I'm so glad they were.
Jim, what do you think of Welcome to Hell, the song?
Like I couldn't pick, like I've got favorite, like I actually listed a whole bunch here as like 1A through F. So like because they're that good. So this one's one of my favorites. I mean, I agree with Staicha. This would be the song that you would bring a new person in to listen to Venom for the first time. I mean, you've got that really cool intro. The vocals are amazing, and it's got such a groovy sound to it, and the chorus is actually catchy. This, in my mind, could be friendly to some degree. I mean, probably not necessarily, but it's such a cool song, and I think it's kind of the most commercially song on the album, and I really like it. The reading of the prayer in it's really cool, and I mean, yeah, the vocals are awesome. Or sorry, the lyrics are awesome on it, and I love. I rebought these albums remastered, which I only have a couple. I only have this one, Possessed, and I think I've War with Satan on cassette. So I rebought these and they're remastered, which kind of sucks. And I know me and Staicha talked about it before, that it would be cool for it to come with 2 discs and one disc be the original one, like the analog, just the way it was released on cassette or album back in the day, and then the new remastered one, because it is cleaned up a little bit, but I like that really gritty sound to it, and I like the low budget sound. It makes it that much better. And no, this is one of my favorites on the album. A wicked song.
I would say, yeah, this is probably well, this is my 1A or 1B or 1C or whatever, but on the album too. And I like the spoken female part in the middle that's reading an excerpt from Psalm 23 while the song kind of still keeps playing in the background. And Kronos is still singing in the background too. It's kind of funny, actually, with the voice going over.
And well, when you're listening to it again, the washing machine part comes right after she's done her little prayer.
But yes, I love the riffs at the start of this one too. And yes, I think it would have been a great. I mean, the Sons of Satan is also a good opener, but I think it would have been even a better opener to the album. And yes, it is a good introduction to Venom. Now, I believe Black Metal was the first Venom I heard, that album. I think I heard that one first and then went back and got Welcome to Hell, but it was many years ago and it's kind of hard to remember. But anyway, then we get to song 3, which is either called Schizoid or Schizoid, depending on where you look. But on the album, it just says Schizoid. Sorry. Number 3, track number 3. Okay. Jim, what do you think of track number 3?
Oh, this is one of the ones on it. Another one of my top songs. I mean, this has got such a cool Motorhead vibe to it. I mean, you could really tell that some of these songs are just so, I mean, they're so cool and they sound so awesome. And I mean, other than the darker ambiance, it probably could have made a really cool Motorhead song. The guitar solo is awesome in it. And I love the chanting in it as well, sort of the chorusy chanting. That's pretty cool. It's a great song. So this would be in my top ones as well. Another great song. So I love it. Absolutely.
And Staicha, Staicha.
Oh yeah, definitely another favorite of mine for sure. It's like, the like 1B, I guess. This is also maybe one of the coolest things I can play on guitar. So I really love it. I can play like half of this album. I love the lyrics in this. There's the part where it kind of like slows down and Kronos is just like that creeping and searching, and then at the end when it's just like dun 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 dun, he's got you in his eye, and then the solo comes in. I cannot for the life of me, if you gave me $1 million, not air guitar to that part. I have been like working in my kitchen on the line in a busy night and dropped what I was doing. Like someone had to wait an extra 45 seconds for their rap because I was like, I have to air guitar to this. You can't not. It's amazing. And it's so darkened Motorhead. I always say, like, I have Motorhead to thank for every band I truly love. And and this is entirely Kronos, because Kronos was the one who came in and was like, we need to sound more like Motorhead. Like, it needs to, like, I like Black Sabbath, but I want it to be really fast.
Right.
So yeah, that Motorhead album, and it's so strong in this album.
And you know what, Staicha, I think it goes hand in hand. Like, you know, you're a huge Motorhead fan, huge Venom fan. And when I was really starting to research this, I was like, cow, man, I didn't realize how closely related to Motorhead it is. But it's just, I mean, it's so cool. First thing I picked up on as soon as I was re-listening to it over the weekend, and I mean, it's awesome. So
I love that you hear it so strongly too. There's one song in particular that I hear, I actually have in my notes. I'm excited to get to it. When I'm like, I swear this song is just like a Motorhead song to me. But you're right, the whole album is so like dark Motorhead, which like is why Venom is the best band, because that's like, I love Motorhead so much, but then I like that it's like shittier and grittier and heavier.
Yeah.
Oh, Venom's the best.
Well, this song, I guess, I guess it's about a serial killer, more or less, and because it's like a serial killer that I was reading this earlier. Now I didn't make a note of it, but you know, the next day he goes out and sees all the headless bodies are on the ground, I guess, that he killed, and he just sits there and smiles. And then he takes them home and loves them, reads the Bible to them, and be sure to kiss each one goodnight. That's pretty sweet, isn't it? I think. I don't know.
So loving.
He's got a large freezer.
He's got a chest freezer.
But I guess Satan could have made him kill the people, so maybe that's still related to Satan. I don't know. There's not much, whatever. Okay, then we go to track 4, which is just an instrumental, just like a 1-minute instrumental, Mayhem with Mercy. And we don't want to say a lot about this, but Staicha, you want to say anything about the short instrumental?
Well, so I will say that I do this every time, but like I technically could do maybe without this. I respect it a lot as an artistic choice. And I know that these guys, like, they do like to slow things down, because they talk about Buried Alive a lot as like, you know, people like the like slower stuff. And I think they sort of, you know, wanted to show off their chops a little bit, show that they weren't just one thing. Maybe Mantis wanted to show off that he could actually play guitar, maybe. And this is just a theory, and it was only in my head because the three of us were just talking about this. They were inspired by Iron Maiden, because Iron Maiden always threw an instrumental on there, and this was the exact time. Like, Neat Records, in spite of Kronos, you know, always asking to sign metal bands, Neat Records only started when Running Free came out. So that was when the owner of the label was like, oh shit, I guess metal isn't dead. And that was all thanks to Iron Maiden. So I could see these guys being like, we got to throw a groovy, artistic, just instrumental one in there. That said, usually I just skip this one. It's not that it's bad, it's just not for me.
Well, it probably would have been in a better place at the start of the album, actually.
Oh no, I love that they opened with a punch.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if you're gonna throw a 1 minute, it does seem kind of odd to throw a 1 minute instrumental in there just to show that he can play. I guess that's the closest to a ballad, is that.
Yeah.
Jim, do you have anything else to add about that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's same thing as Staicha. It's, you know, it's got that ominous sound, and it's got a good, you know, the acoustic guitar picking in there. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's kind of weird, like, to have this on there. But I think it's, you know, they were into Iron Maiden, so, you know, the last album we discussed, you know, had 2 on there. So you know, it's probably just what was happening at the time, and they just you know, hey, why not throw it on there? You know, it doesn't. I don't think it takes away from the album in any way.
Oh yeah, I don't think so either.
Well, and if they didn't put this in here, Mayhem might not have become a band.
That's true too.
They might have called themselves something else. They might have called themselves Poison for the next song, and then what would have happened to hair metal? So Poison is the next song, and the first line of the song is, your love is infectious, you're rotten to the core. And I thought, this has got to be about Staicha, this song.
It definitely is.
Well, I won't read any of the other lyrics, though, because I don't want to offend you or anything with some of the other lyrics there. But so Staicha, you want to talk about Poison?
Okay, so the song, the band, it's all great. I I love this song. And this just kind of makes me love them as people. Now, this is whatever, not to offend anybody, but like when people talk about like purity and chastity, I always think they're just liars. I'm like, I don't feel like anybody really likes that. So to me, the fact that Venom is like, I'm gonna write a love ballad to the town whore is my favorite, and it makes me love them so much. It's just an amazing, because again, like the whole like, no, like find yourself a good chaste. No, Venom's like, absolutely not. Love the town whore. She's amazing. And it's also just such a good song. The lyrics are great, the song is great. It's a drive with the windows down in your car kind of song. Yeah, and very Motorhead. Not the one I had the lyric like the note about, but yeah, also very well. I mean, the last time we did a Motorhead podcast, it was just like, did you know that Lemmy just wrote this about sex?
And Jim, the song Poison.
One of my favorites. This is a love song about women we love and we celebrate. So this is great. And it's awesome. It's got a wicked solo in it as well. But, one night with you and got me poisoned, sitting close up behind me, hand upon my zip, don't bother to take it down at me. It's all about the rip. This is awesome stuff. I mean, I agree with Staicha 100%. It's always about, you need to find that purity and good person. And no. This is what it's all about.
Yeah,
no, I love it. Love it. One of my favorite songs, and probably easily my top 10 Venom songs for sure. I absolutely love it. So yeah, it's great.
Definitely.
And yes, it's one of my favorite songs on the album too. And I like the solos. Like I know Venom's not really known as, I mean, we like their music and their guitar, whatever playing, but a lot of other people are like, oh, they can't play or whatever. But I mean, it's not Randy Rhoads here, but still, I think the solos are awesome on this album.
The solos are so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we go to the last song on side one, if we're listening to an album or a cassette, and that is Live Like an Angel, Die Like a Devil. And I will let Jim go first on this one.
Yeah, this is a great song. I mean, it's fast. I mean, they're all fairly fast. Again, the drums on it are just amazing. And, it's got a wicked in it as well, too. I love that. And I mean, I love when he's growling the ooh, it's awesome. And I mean, it's a great song. I really, really like it. It's a good one for sure. Yeah, I love it.
Staicha.
So, Jim, this is the one where I was like, to me, this is the most like Motorhead song.
Yeah.
But I think it's because it's like a fucking like rock and roll banger, just like the super fast rock and roll song. So I remember just being like, this to me is like the ultimate. This is where you hear Kronos being like, we need to sound like Motorhead. But yeah, it's a great one. Another like, really loud with the windows down kind of song.
Yeah. And I think it shows off the guitar playing. Like, you guys make great points. This whole album's full of really good musicianship. I mean,
totally.
Like there was not Randy Rhoads, that's true. But this was, I mean, you think of it, for this type of music at the time that was pretty much totally underground. I mean, the solos are amazing and the bass sounds good. It was like totally balls out. And I mean, that's what I love about this. There's no shit with it. It's just straightforward, and it's really, really good stuff. I think it's chock full of great musicianship. And I know a lot of people would be like, it's not, but it is, absolutely.
Well, those other people are liars. And the thing is too, like what you said about the drumming, I feel like people don't talk about Abaddon. Like even like I swear, if you Google like Anthony Bray, they're like, who? The internet half the time doesn't even know who you're talking about. And I think because he kind of got lost in the divorce between Mantis and Kronos, because you've got now right. I absolutely am like awestruck by Kronos, but I think Mantis is a truly good person. But like those two, you've got you've still got two big egos like
Yeah.
battling it out, and it was like mom and dad split up, and you know the kid went with dad for a while, so like Abaddon was with Mantis for a bit, and then I think Abaddon was like, I just hate everything, so like nobody ever talks about him because now you can still see Venom with Kronos and you can see Venom Inc. with Mantis, but
Yeah.
Abaddon just like disappeared and is with no one, so nobody ever talks about it. But like, yeah, you listen to this and you're like, man, like the drums are so good. um and this at this time there was rumors going around. It was more around the black metal era, but there were rumors going around that Venom didn't actually know how to play music. None of them knew how to play instruments, but that rumor was actually started by them because they thought it was funny. They were so sick of answering interview questions that they just started making shit up. But that one actually stuck, and people were like, oh, those people don't even like, they just like smack guitars against the wall and like just record whatever comes out. And I'm like, listen to the damn songs. Like they're actually
Yeah.
really good. Like these people are great at what they do.
I think the sound quality is leading some people to say, to criticize their playing too or something. Like, because it's not all polished and produced, but
It's not polished. That is what I
yeah,
like
but
about it. But yeah,
yeah.
it's a very gritty lo-fi production for sure.
Okay, then we go to side two, and we start off with Whiplash by Metallica. No, it's Witching Hour. Sorry, I'm gonna let Staicha explain what I just said there.
So, okay, when so around the time that Venom was taking off, which was right after this album, they were touring, and someone who dealt in bootlegs sent them this tape, and they were like, hey, like, Kronos, I really feel like you should see these kids. And he sent him a bunch of children all in Venom shirts and playing a bunch of songs, and Kronos was like, what the hell? And he was like, he heard one of their songs and was like, that's my song, that is literally Witching Hour, and the song is Whiplash, and the band was Metallica. So Kronos was like, well, I mean, if they're gonna be a Venom worship band, we should probably bring them on tour with us. And that was Metallica's first album tour, was with Venom. And it's actually, if you ever see me do like if anybody's ever seen any of the videos I do for Metal Pit, that poster is what's like hanging behind me, is the tour from that, because I love Venom. Obviously, they're my favorite band, if that hasn't been a dead giveaway. But I also love Metallica, so it's just a great tour poster. But I mean, I love this song. I can totally see why Metallica stole it.
Yeah.
Is that the poster from the Ride the Lightning box set, or because I have
No. Ride the
no?
Lightning didn't exist yet. This was from Kill 'Em
Oh,
All.
yeah.
Okay,
So
well,
it's
see, I have the Ride the Lightning box set, and it came with a poster with Metallica and Venom on the same poster. So I didn't know if that was the poster you had or not. So it must have been.
so
I'd have to go look it up to see what it says again.
it's like a big Venom poster. So Metallica is like a footnote in it, but it's like a huge Venom poster. It's got like the black metal logo on it, and in the corner it just says featuring guests Metallica, Kill 'Em
Oh,
All.
okay. And Jim, what do you think of Witching Hour?
Oh yeah, I mean, Staicha said it all. I mean, but Staicha sent me a picture from her Venom Big Book of Venom of Metallica
Oh yeah.
with. That was so cool, and you're right. So she said, "Jim, have a look at this." And doesn't it look like Lars? And I can't remember who else is in the picture. I think it's James, and they look like little brothers of Venom because they were so young. I mean, Lars looks like he's in his late teens probably, and just looks like this kind of little metal kid, and they're there with their idols pretty much. It looks so cool. I mean, that's awesome. That was awesome. But yeah, the song's wicked. I mean, another fast song. This is like just trademark Venom. And Mayhem put this cover on their Death Crush album. So like, that's a massively important black metal album,
Yeah.
and they, I think there's only 6 songs or 5 songs, and this is one of the songs on it that they did, which was really cool. And I mean, a legendary album, and this is how much they were into Venom. So, and if you see any videos of, I've been watching a lot of black metal documentaries and stuff, and all of the Norwegian bands seem to worship Venom for sure. And this song is like one of the mainstays. Absolutely. Yeah.
100%. And it's funny because I know like we've been talking a lot about the solos, and like obviously I love the build up to the solo in Schizo. That's the one I can't not air guitar. But I think
Yeah.
this is the best. This is like not I just think that this is the best solo in the album. That witching hour solo is so, just like all the tapping, it's amazing.
Oh, the ripping guitar on that. Yeah, it just goes. And I mean, it's again too for anybody who's knocking these guys as musicians need to really just put their preconceived notions aside and listen to it.
Yeah.
Just listen to it, and it's really really cool. I mean, this stuff is awesome, and it's groundbreaking. You've got to think of the, everybody has a hard time. They're thinking it, we're thinking of bands releasing albums now. They're doing it, you can do one on your computer and your iPad, and you can have it totally cleaned up. You don't even need band anymore. You can just kind of make it. This is when it was done on a little tiny system, just anywheres. And for the time, that's what makes these albums so special in my mind.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely agreed.
Then we go to, I'm still waiting for a ballad on this album, but anyway, I don't think we're going to get one. So then we go to 1000 Days in Sodom. Now, I know this is from the Bible. I haven't read my Bible in a while. Okay, I don't have anyway. Jim, what do you think of 1000 Days in Sodom?
it's another great song. I mean, this is the song that, apparently, as you guys brought up, that Sodom took their name from. I mean, this is, and another legendary German band that, bands like Mayhem worship. So, and they were more, I guess you could say, at the start of their career, a lot more black metal, and then kind of turned into more of a like a Teutonic German thrash scene later on as they continued, and they're still putting out great albums. But this is another classic. It's got a great beat and a great groove, and I love kind of the change up in it. It's really good, and it is awesome, and that's what I like. Like, we talk a lot about a lot of the bands as towards, I think, 1989 or 87, sorry, 88, 89, they were tuning down like their bass, and kind of was on a lot of albums like Justice for All, for instance. It wasn't even really, couldn't even hear Newstead on that album. And like a lot of bands were focused more on guitar and more so the singing, the vocals. And this, these guys, it sounds like everything has got kind of an equal part that makes up a really good product. And I mean, it's awesome. The bass grooves at solo, it's kind of a solo that leads into a really cool guitar solo, but the change up in there is really really good. This is a really talented song, I think.
And Staicha?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, so like this isn't my favorite song on the album, but you're right, it changes a lot, and it is a very groovy song, but it starts off a little more like still like pulverizing but slower, but then it like
Yeah.
really picks up like about a minute in, just when you kind of thought you knew the song you were listening to. And it's a very they're talented people that wrote this. I get why Sodom wanted to take their name from it,
Yeah.
but that production quality, and I mean, it's so clever. So I don't know if you guys know the story about how this album was recorded, but essentially Neat Records, when they finally caved and they were like, fine, you can record your dumb album with your two stupid friends, if you can be here whenever there's a cancellation, no notice whatsoever. And they were like, okay, fine. But the person who was mixing it had never worked with a metal band before, and the way that he was recording it was very like one string at a time. And anyway, the band wasn't fussed about it, and Kronos heard it and hated it because he worked at Neat Records, and he was like, this sucks. So he went in one day when the boss wasn't there. It was just the secretary, and he was like, hey, the boss told me to like go upstairs for a little while, but he also said that maybe you should go out to lunch and have like a longer lunch. And she was like, okay. And he snuck up, and he had 3 hours to remix the album himself, and then resealed the envelope, and then it got sent out. So the record company was fucking livid, because when they heard it, it wasn't the album that they had mixed. It was something Kronos, an 18-year-old kid, had done in a 3-hour span. And they were like, this album bombs, it is all on you. And like I will make sure that you are never signed ever again to anything. But people loved it. I mean, insofar as you can love a metal band, but like, people loved it. And that sound, so like the way, it's funny because like the way you talk about like the bass too, it's like, I mean, he is the bass player, he's definitely I'm sure that's very forward, but it just makes a very full sound. You've only got 3 people, but it has such a full sound to it.
And then we go to track 9, Angel Dust. And I guess this song is about, well, drugs. So it's not about sex or Satan. So Staicha, what about Angel Dust?
Yeah, I love it. See, this is another very Motorhead song because it's just like a fun, fast kind of rock and roll banger. I love his like shrieky high pitched vocals when he's like, hiya. It just kind of, it's a little bit of a, whatever, I'm growling the entire time. And if I'm not growling, I'm doing some evil laughter. So maybe I'll try a few high pitched notes. Why not? But I love that it's just like a straight up love song about drugs. Cause like, yeah, Blake, you're right. It's either Satan or sex. Or like, you know what? Let's throw some drugs in there because why not? That kind of, to me, it just makes it a complete metal album. Like that's the totality. You've got the triumvirate of 80s metal all here.
Yes. And Jim?
Yeah, I mean, I got written down here the growling vocals. I mean, I think the guitar on this one sounds really thick. It's really cool. It's a good, like, I find it's just a really great, got a great beat to it. It's a good song. I mean, there's no bad songs on this album at all, or nothing. Just maybe the instrumental I probably just zip through, but I mean, it's only around a minute anyways. But no, this is a great track. And again, too, very talented playing. And, you're homing into the end of the album and you still like, this album doesn't let up. It grabs you by the throat and just keeps holding on. It's like that. I mean, and there's no, there's very few albums like that nowadays. And this is awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it.
So
I like the line in the song where he says, laughing, crying every night and day. So I guess that's what happens when you are on Angel Dust.
See,
okay, then we go to In League with Satan. And this is about a softball league or something. I don't know what this is about. But Jim, what do you think of In League with Satan?
Okay, I mean, this is legendary song. I mean, come on, there's just so much. I mean, from the intro on it, it sounds like, it's got that kind of, I mean, they're using that backmasking technique so it sounds like it's kind of, they're moving the album, I think, counterclockwise, almost like a kind of a backwards message type deal. But it reminds me of like if on the movie Poltergeist, when they were trying to talk to Carol Ann through the TV. So, it's got that echoey sound, but it's so cool. I mean, it's awesome. The kind of the drum intro. I love the echoey vocals, and I like the fact that they continue almost through the whole song. So, and then it kind of lets up a bit, but I really, really like that. And this is, I mean, Staicha's going to talk more on it, but this is considered the first black metal song. So with all this satanic, imagery and they were creating that image. So I mean, this is definitely, I think, where black metal spawned from, and I don't think that's debatable. You read the lyrics to the song, listen to the song, and I mean, it's just phenomenal. And I think that's exactly what it is. So no softball team though.
And Staicha?
This song is my 1A. This is my number 1 favorite on this album. It's my number 2 favorite Venom song overall. And yeah, Jim, the intro, like that backmasking, like they loved fucking with sound. You hear it a lot more in they get more playful in black metal with, like the chainsaw and the steel and like burying that box, but they still had a ton of fun with this, and you can hear it in this song, and with the echoey vocals, but that like doom doom, doom, like in the drum intro. It's just amazing. This is also the first Venom song I ever learned on guitar because I was like, I have to learn this one. It turns out it's pretty easy, but I was like, I don't even care if it's hard. Like, this has to be the one I learn. And this song, test this out in the wild. I have never shown this to a person who has not liked it. Every line cook I've had who says they don't like metal, they like this song. My best friend is a horse girl. Like, her favorite band is U2. I showed her this song and she liked it. I had someone who worked in the kitchen who was obsessed with Lady Gaga and Drag Race. And even he was like, this song, quote, this song slays. So
Nice.
yes, I hire a lot of young people. So this song is just one of those songs that you can show to almost anyone and everybody can hear just how good it is. Whether you like metal or black metal or whatever, like, people are just like, oh no, that's a fun, great song.
And have you ever tried playing the song in reverse on a turntable? I mean,
That's just like all vocals for me. No, the you can there's actually, you can look it up because I was listening to Plasmatics the other day, and I wanted to hear what she's saying at the end of The Damned. And so I Googled it, and there's like a Wikipedia list actually of like every backmasked song. And it's like you can look up what any backmasking is. And I was like, oh,
Nice.
that's neat.
yeah, well, apparently if you did it, of course, you don't want to wreck your turntable. Or if you have one that'll play reverse, maybe they have those. I don't know. But yeah, he does. You do hear Kronos saying, Satan raised in hell, I'm going to burn your soul, crush your bones. I'm going to make you bleed. You're going to bleed for me. Apparently,
Nice.
as this
It's
is
so
one of the
dramatic.
earliest instances of satanic subliminal messages in music. It's not really
I like how
subliminal
it
because you have to play
goes
it
from,
backwards to hear it, right? I don't.
well, that part's subliminal, and then it becomes like supraliminal as you go through the song.
But yeah, I've never tried it, and I don't really think I want to wreck my needle, so I probably won't be trying it. So then we finish off with Red Light Fever, and we need Staicha to tell us what this song is about.
Why do I always talk about the sex songs? I think the song is great. The intro is like really wacky. This I think is so I think I had, this is the first song I heard on this album, because I heard black metal first as well, and for some reason when I first heard Welcome to Hell, this was the first one I heard, and I was like, whoa. But this is, yeah, it's just another song about loving loose women, so I obviously love it. It's just like a fun, awesome rock and roll song. It's got a great riff in it, and I think it's just like a fun ending. I feel like, I mean, In League with Satan probably would have been a really strong ending because, like, you know, like Jim was saying, like, that's just like, okay, congratulations, this is black metal.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Red Light Fever is a great way to be like, we'll end with a fun one, a nice jaunt.
And Jim?
Yeah, this is a great song. I mean, you know, working women of the night. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, this is like, so the lyrics in it are great, and no, it's got kind of, yeah, that funky intro, and then the screams rip in. This has got that foggy guitar again, but you're right. This should have probably came in like a song 10, and In League with Satan should have bookended it with like this being a massive, it's like,
Yeah.
that was, you're kind of hit the climax of the album, probably the song before. And, and I mean, it spawned so much in the black metal generation. And then you just kind of have this on as definitely a fun track. I, totally agree. I mean, but it's a great track and I love it. It shows they're writing about, we've got something about drugs on here, something about Satan. We've got, a couple of love songs like this. I'm feeling really good by the end of this album. I mean, I've taken a journey and I feel really good.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And he says the B word a lot in there, I guess. Yeah.
It's kind of cool too. Yeah, how he does it. He ends off the lyric with that, and I think it's catchy.
He's just such a funny, wacky weirdo.
But you know what? It's good to say too that, remember, then you had the Possessed album on like the PMRC's Filthy 15. Possessed was on there for a cult, because I think they had two, like all of them were sex orientated, like the ones that they were trying to ban, and then you had some with I think you had the one off of Black Sabbath there, Born Again for Trashed, which would have been would have been substance abuse, and then you had this one and I think a Merciful Fate song for a cult. So it's kind of neat that the American government was trying to protect everybody from some of these songs. But anyways, it's just I can't believe they went off the Possessed album, and there's so much other stuff out there, like
right.
That's the one I know Tipper Gore's an idiot, but like I'm sitting there going like, did she just like stop? I mean, I know you couldn't, we didn't have did she just go out and buy the first one she saw? Like, where the hell did she just get this one song from? There's so much better material to ban.
There's so much more to hate. It's so good.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so that's the album. Now we're gonna rate it. Jim, what would you give it out of 10?
10 out of 10. If there was 11 out of 10, I'm sorry. I know Blake's always laughing at me because I give 10s out like cookies, but it's a 10 out of 10, and and Staicha gives out cookies, so I can't wait to hear hers.
And Staicha, what would you give it out of 10?
This is 100% a 10 out of 10 for me. I mean,
Yeah.
Again, like when we did our top 50, like my number 1 album of all time was Black Metal by Venom. My number 2 album of all time was Welcome to Hell by Venom. And I was like, I don't even care if this is ridiculous. It is literally just my truth. This album is just, it's perfect. And see, we've had a good time. We had great romping adventures through this album.
Now, which...
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'm not giving it a 10. Sorry, I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Classic.
Okay.
Classic, like.
Do you like this one better than Black Metal album, or both the same, or what, Staicha?
I like Black Metal just like 1% more.
Okay.
But it's tough. And honestly, like I'll go through, like, definitely if you asked me this like not last year, but 2 years ago, I would have told you I liked Welcome to Hell more. If you asked me when I was in like grade 10, I liked Black Metal more. Like it sort of depends. Sometimes it depends on the season too. Like Welcome to Hell is a total summer album for me. Black Metal, because it's a little bit darker, is a more of a like winter album for me. But I feel like I probably, looking at like track to track, probably Black Metal.
I would agree with that. Jim, would you like this one or Black Metal better, or both the same?
I like them fairly close, but not to jump on the bandwagon here, but my favorite Venom song of all time is Countess Bathory. So it's my favorite, and I love it. And when you did the Bathory podcast, you guys were debating like which, and you picked Countess Bathory, and I was like, yes, so did I, so would I. So that's my favorite. So an inch more, I like Black Metal probably. This one's a little more commercialized, though. I think this would be. Man, this has got that. You could have this on the radio. I think it's that good. I mean, maybe not Poison, but some of the stuff on there for sure.
It is pretty accessible. I'd never thought about it until you were talking about it, but I was like, fuck, that's it. Honestly, like it is a way more accessible album, and it has more hooks. But that's I mean, again, it's got songs on there that like the people in my kitchen can listen to without going completely mad.
Well, Poison could have been on, except when they say that little bitch has got me poisoned. I guess they didn't say that. It could probably be on the radio, but
maybe not the zipper part.
Yeah, the zipper part's a little incriminating.
Well, you can study every lyric.
That's why I don't understand why Tipper Gore didn't see that. I mean,
Okay, anyway, so that's the album. So we did that. Now, like I said, it's the third album in a row we did from 1981, but we saved our top 10 list for this episode where we pick our top 10 albums from 1981 because we did something differently on the last 2 episodes. And I'm going to go first this time just because I have something to say after this, so then I can take a little break before I have to talk again. So I'm going to do my top 10 albums of 1981, and I'm going to start at number 10. And hopefully too many people aren't upset by this, but I got Def Leppard's High and Dry as my number 10.
I like Def Leppard.
That record's awesome. And it might be in mine.
Well, yeah, I like the song "Let It Go" and "Bringing on the Heartbreak." It's a ballad thing, but it's a pretty good song. And yeah, it's Def Leppard. I like Def Leppard back then. Anyway, number 9, I got Girl School and their album Hit and Run, probably mostly just because, they're one of the first female metal bands. So I wanted to get them in here. Number 8, I got Canada's Anvil and their debut album Hard and Heavy.
Nice.
Number 7, I got Saxon with Denim and Leather. Number 6 is our last episode, Ozzy's Diary of a Madman. Number 5, I have Judas Priest's Point of Entry. Number 4, I had Motley Crue with Too Fast for Love because I like the first 2 Motley Crue albums. I know Jim likes Dr. Feelgood the best, but anyway. And number 3, I got another Canadian band. I got this, maybe not metal, but it's close to it. Anyway, Triumph with their album Allied Forces because I love that album. Number 2, I got this album, Venom, Welcome to Hell. And so my number 1 album, 1981, you can probably guess, is Iron Maiden's Killers. And I'll let Jim go next with your 10.
Yeah, we had a couple that were duplicate there, quite a few actually. But anyways, my number 10 is Hard and Heavy from Anvil. I mean, that's my favorite Anvil album, probably tied with Metal on Metal. Number 9 is Too Fast for Love, Motley Crue. I agree. Like, that's their, as far as I'm concerned, the first 2 albums. I even like the 94 with John Corabi. I think that was a better album than all the other crap they've been putting out. So, I'm sorry, but Motley Crue is just, they've become a joke. I really like that. If they kept John Corabi as the lead singer, I think they would have come out and probably done a lot better. Number 8, Point of Entry, Judas Priest, legendary album. I mean, Desert Plains, Heading Out to the Highway, great tracks. Number 7, High and Dry, Def Leppard. Def Leppard, one of the first albums I got would have been Judas Priest, but I think one of the first albums I actually got on purpose was probably Pyromania. And I mean, went back and got High and Dry and On Through the Night. That's Def Leppard. After Pyromania, Hysteria and all that commercial, they went through commercials. So
yeah,
sorry. And even though I've bought a lot of their albums since then, hoping, but their last album had something like 18 tracks on it. It was bloated. Number 6, I am a huge Tigers of Pantang. Yes! So Spellbound, love Tigers, love that album. And I mean, Mirror and Gangland off that. Number 5, Accept, Breaker. I mean, I'm a huge Accept fan. And that was a legendary album. I love that album. Number 4 would be Diary of a Madman, Ozzy. That's another legendary album. Number 3, Iron Maiden, Killers. Only bows down to my number 2, which is Mob Rules from Sabbath. I mean, I love that album. And, I go back between that and, and the other one I'm drawing a blank on here. The other Dio Sabbath album, Heaven and Hell. I keep going back and forth which one I like more. And number 1 is this album. And I picked this album because this is an important, like, when I grade the albums, I grade it on how much I like the albums, obviously, but I also put in a little bit of thought with what this album meant to the movement of heavy metal. And all these albums in my mind have something that bring to it, but Welcome to Hell spawned a whole generation, and and Venom spawned a whole generation and a whole movement. I mean, a whole genre pretty much. So it's a very important album in 1981. And that's it. Absolutely.
A part of our cultural heritage.
That's right.
Okay. I know this isn't a rule, but I had a special mention, so it would be like The Nightcomers by Holocaust would have been a number 11 because I just had a really hard time with this because I really like 1981. So number 10, Denim and Leather by Saxon. Probably still in my car right now. Number 9, Special Forces, Alice Cooper. Number 8, Fire Down Under by Riot. I feel like nobody ever talks about Riot, and they're great. Number 7, Night of the Demon by Demon. They're great. Jim, I don't know if you're like super familiar, but if you like Tigers of Pantang, you'd probably like them. Similar,
Yeah,
like solid sound.
nice.
Number 6, Mob Rules, Sabbath. Number 5, Spellbound, Tigers of Pantang.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right.
Number 4, Hit and Run, Girl School.
Cool.
Number 3, Point of Entry by Judas Priest. Number 2, Killers, Iron Maiden. And shocker, my number 1 is Welcome to Hell by Venom.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
Yeah, who's surprised?
Yeah.
I kind of forgot. I forgot about Mob Rules. It might have made my list, but I just forgot about it because I don't know why I forgot about it, because I'm actually writing up a year in review thing about 1981, and I have the Mob Rules on it. But then when I made my list, I didn't think it didn't pop into my head for some reason. But anyway, see, like 1981, like we had a lot of repeats here with the three of us.
Oh yeah.
There's lots of great albums, but there wasn't a whole bunch of it. Like there was a lot of albums still, but it's not like nowadays where you have.
It's not crazy. Like
So, yeah.
I've looked up like 1984, 1985, and it is impossible to narrow it down. The thing that was hard for me is like there's so albums like bands like Medieval Steel, Tigers of Pantang, Riot, Demon, all of those bands. Like this was a really big year for bands like that. But then it's like, you know, you've got like Alice Cooper and, you know, Motley Crue putting out stuff, which I also love, but like it's just like all over the damn map. So that was as much as it wasn't a ton of albums, it's kind of like, you know, are you feeling more like Maiden, Sabbath, Venom? Are you feeling more like Tigers of Pantang, Riot, Demon? Are you feeling more like glammy? Like, are you feeling more Alice Cooper? So it's just like, man, I got to like narrow down to genres.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just wanted to say we're almost done here, but as I did say earlier, this is our last episode before Christmas, and we will have one more episode before the end of the year, and that one is a little bit different than this episode because that will be, I'm going to have Billy and another guest on discussing one of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra Christmas albums.
Nice.
So a little bit different than Venom. A little bit different lyric quality in there. Not quality, but lyric content, I mean, in there. So yeah, so that'll be the next episode, which will be December 27th after Christmas. And then the first episode of 2024 will be a recap of the year in metal of 2023. Now, If you checked out our website, make sure we've started to add our writers' top 15 albums of 2023. Jim's is on there right now. Staicha's will be on there eventually next week sometime probably. And then that's leading up to January 1st, where on their website you'll see our combined group's top 15 albums of the year. So check our website, themetalpit.org. So I want to thank Jim and Staicha for being with me on the Metal Pit website and guesting on a bunch of podcasts this year. You both did a great job every time you were on, and you do a great job on the website. So thank you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Blake. I mean, you facilitate all of it, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks. And I like being included. We're like the three amigos. This is awesome.
Oh, totally, 100%.
Oh, totally, and it's hilarious. It's so funny, and I love coming up, listening to the facts. I mean, it's just you guys have so many cool facts about this stuff, and it's so much fun.
I can't believe I actually get to put these to use. Like, that's the thing. They rattle around in my head, and I can't believe I get to use them.
That's right.
And we have a lot of great writers and a lot of great guests on the podcast. Everybody does a great job. So yes, check us out everywhere. Check out our previous podcast episodes out and everything. And so it's the last episode for Christmas. So I want to wish all our listeners a Merry Christmas or a Happy Holidays, or if you don't celebrate Christmas, then have a happy December 25th. And let's see. And so I'll wish, of course, Staicha and Jim a Merry Christmas, and all my contributors, even though I'm sure I'll talk to you before Christmas and say it again, so you'll get sick of me saying it. But anyway, I appreciate everyone's contributions to the website this year, whether it's big or small. And we look forward to a great year in 2024 at the Metal Pit. So thanks, everybody, for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.